Some days on the force, you respond to real emergencies. Lost dogs, porch pirates, the occasional dispute over whose trash can touch whose driveway. Then there are days like today, the kind they never put on the recruitment posters. It all started with the dispatch call, a disturbance in the suburbs. Code words we all know mean Karen. And yes, we all know her name. Not legally maybe, but in spirit. Karen lives in every neighborhood, waiting, watching, ready to wield the HOA handbook like the stone tablets of suburban law. I pulled up in my patrol car to find her already in full ceremonial mode. And I mean ceremonial, crystals in one hand, smoldering bundle of sage in the other, arms outstretched to the cosmos as if she'd been chosen by some cosmic HOA council to protect the sacred tranquility of Oakview Lane. She'd even planted a sign in her front yard. No bad vibes. Karen approved zone. Bad vibes detected. Karen's aura enforcement. Complete with clip art that would scare even a stubborn crow off the grass. And there I was, standing at the edge of her manicured lawn, realizing my morning coffee wasn't nearly strong enough for this. The first thing you notice about Karen's vibe patrol is how serious she takes it. Eyes closed, chest rising, lips pursed in what I assume is an ancient chant against neighborhood negativity. Or possibly she's just humming the tune of a discount yoga video. Hard to tell. Behind her, the neighborhood looked exactly like every other Tuesday afternoon. Mail trucks rolling by, kids on scooters, someone mowing a lawn. But for Karen, the threat wasn't visible. The real danger was the unseen scourge of bad vibes, an existential menace that, somehow, only she could detect. In the academy, they don't teach you how to respond when someone claims to smell negative energy wafting from a neighbor's porch light. They focus on traffic stops, not crystal grid enforcement. But there I stood, badge pinned, radio crackling, trying not to inhale too much sage smoke as Karen continued her slow, deliberate swirl of purification. And then there's me, Officer Dave, suburban cop, part-time peacemaker, and now, apparently, unwilling apprentice in aura cleansing. My official training manual says nothing about this. But after 10 years in this town, you learn it's easier to let Karen finish the ritual before you even try speaking. The neighbors had all retreated to safe distances, peeking from behind hedges and minivan windows. Nobody wants to get caught in Karen's counter-vibe perimeter. It's the social equivalent of stepping barefoot on a Lego. Karen finally opened her eyes, looking more serene than a monk at dawn, and for a moment, I almost respected the commitment. She had a purpose, even if that purpose was scolding anyone whose mailbox was crooked. But deep inside, I felt it, the realization that I'd spend the next hour nodding along as she explained the cosmic emergency threatening her property values. She raised her crystals like she was offering them to the HOA gods. The sage smoke drifted toward me. It smelled less like tranquility and more like my grandma's musty attic, but I forced a straight face. In her mind, she was protecting us all. In mine, I was just hoping no actual crimes happened while I was busy playing background extra in her suburban exorcism. Then she turned toward me, still holding the crystals, ready to deliver the complaint. And you haven't really lived as a cop until you've heard a grown woman in a cardigan tell you, very calmly, that your presence is needed because the neighbor at number 47 had projected bad energy at her begonias. Yes, begonias. The flowers. I didn't even get the chance to ask how one projects bad energy at flowers. Karen was already explaining. The wilting of 2 petals, the droop of a single leaf, undeniable proof of a psychic attack from across the street. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just a call. This was the call. The story every officer gets to tell over coffee. And it was mine now. So there I stood, sage curling around me like some suburban baptism, nodding politely while Karen lectured on chakra contamination and the urgent need for aura enforcement. She produced laminated papers, because of course she did. A mix of HOA bylaws, printouts from blogs with suspicious fonts, and a hand-drawn aura map of her yard marked with red excess where the bad vibes were strongest. It looked like a toddler's pirate treasure map, except the treasure was apparently inner peace. Part of me wanted to interrupt. Part of me wanted to say, "Ma'am, the only thing wilting your flowers is the July sun and too much fertilizer." But I've learned you never interrupt Karen mid-sermon. It's like poking a wasp nest with a Q-tip. She pointed at a neighbor 2 houses down, an elderly man I've known for years whose biggest crime is mowing slightly off schedule. He was, according to Karen, the primary vibe offender. Secondary offenders included the teenager who skateboarded by last week, and apparently, the Amazon driver whose shoes tracked chaotic energy onto her walk. I wrote it all down on my pad. Not because it was useful, but because sometimes the act of writing calms them down. To Karen, my notes weren't just scribbles. They were proof the universe had finally sent an ally. And all the while, the sign in her yard glared back. No bad vibes. As if it could stop the unstoppable flow of teenage angst and lukewarm neighborly resentment that flows through every cul-de-sac. But here's what really got me. Karen wasn't angry. Not the classic screeching Karen. She was serene, smiling faintly, as if holding the crystals made her the living embodiment of neighborhood harmony. Right before demanding I serve a psychic cease and desist to the guy 2 houses down. I tried gently suggesting maybe, just maybe, the drooping begonias weren't the result of a coordinated energy attack. Her eyes narrowed like I'd just insulted her family, her crystals, and her favorite Trader Joe's all at once. Then came the best part. She asked me, no, commanded me, to step into her vibe-cleansing zone. A circle on the grass she'd sprinkled with sea salt, arranged quartz points, and what I'm pretty sure was a dog toy repurposed as a sacred talisman. All I had to do, she said, was stand there, palms open, and allow the crystals to realign my professional aura. I'm just a small-town cop, not paid nearly enough to wrestle cosmic forces. But at that moment, facing the unwavering conviction in her eyes, I did it. I stepped in, palms open, looking like the world's saddest mime. Inside, my brain screamed, "What is happening to your life, Dave?" Outside, I kept my face calm. Because after years of divorces, loose dogs, and kids daring each other to steal lawn gnomes, you learn. The uniform isn't just about law. It's about absorbing the world's weirdness, so others don't have to. When I stepped out, she nodded, satisfied. Apparently, my aura had been neutralized. She handed me a tiny rose quartz, insisted I keep it in my pocket as a shield, and finally let me go. As I turned to leave, she raised the sage bundle again, cleansing the air behind me, as if even my shadow might trail unapproved vibes. Driving away, windows down to clear the smoke smell, I realized something. Karen isn't hurting anyone, not really. And the neighbors, even the so-called primary offender, knew better than to argue. They just shook their heads, grumbled over fences, and let her do her cosmic patrol. It's weird, it's pointless, and yes, it's hilarious. But it's hers. And maybe every neighborhood needs a story like Karen. The strange glue that makes everyone else feel a tiny bit more normal by comparison. Back at the station, I dropped the rose quartz on my desk. My partner asked why my uniform smelled like an incense shop exploded. I just shrugged. Some stories you tell over beers. Some you keep. And some, like the day Karen called the Aura Police, become legend. Because bad vibes come and go. But a Karen is forever.